Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazzed, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 1v1 kind of dueling, but with LOS, of course, in arena classes. Now, I'd say a lot of classes are definitely strong in this, and it was kind of hard to leave off a lot of the classes that we did, but we really took it down to a base subject of a class opening up, getting their heals off, and having the possibility of resetting the fight over and over again, either based on LOS or based upon cooldowns. So that's kind of how we just compiled this list, and honestly, it made for a lot of interesting discussions. But in the end, I believe we got a pretty solid top 5 for 1v1ing with LOS inside Arena. So let's go ahead and discuss this, guys. Number 5 is going to go to Feral Druids. Now, guys, Feral Druids. Why Feral Druids? Now, like I said, Feral Druids is one of the classes that's going to open up on you, apply their bleeds as fast as possible, and then LOS. Now, they'll basically come back behind this pillar, and you notice they get a healing touch. You throw on the healing touch, you throw on your hots. You stay LOS as long as possible until you get your stealth back. You wait till they run around the pillar for about 3 days, because, you basically run faster than just about any other class. You wait till the bleeds wear off, and then you reopen, of course, on the target, stacking up 2 full stacks again, and applying your bleeds, LOSing, throwing the heal on yourself, healing yourself, and of course, running around until you reopen. Now, this small little, I'd say, cycle is extremely OP for Feral Druids. It mitigates basically a majority of the class's burst if you do this correctly. And in my opinion, if you're not using pillars on a Feral Druid, unless it's like a healer 3 setting, you're definitely not playing the class correctly. And of course, when you blow your cooldowns with Incarnation King of the Jungle, it makes it so you can stealth even while in combat, allowing you another, I think, three stealths you can get maximum on that, so you can reapply, reinvis, come out, LOS, go back into calf form, wait for it to go down, and get 3 stealths out of it total before Incarnation runs down. I mean, that's 3 resets. That's 3 open up, stun, apply bleeds, run away, heal yourself. And if the other class doesn't have self-healing or anything like that, Feral Druids are just going to destroy them. Demon Hunters, Frost DKs, things like that don't stand a chance 1v1 against a Feral in Arena that has a good LOS or something to pillar behind. As you saw, I believe in my last Feral Druid video, you guys saw me do quite a bit of 1v1s, because I'd come out on my Feral, of course, since he's stealth, after they open up on my partner, and they deal a ton of damage on my partner. We end up killing one of them, my partner dies, and then it's me 1v1ing in other classes, what a lot of the arena fights were going on. So definitely, Ferals come in at number 5. Number 4 on this list is going to go to BM Hunters. Now, guys, if you've ever came across the good BM Hunter 1v1, you know the complete frustration of what you're about to see. So, Hunters start off, they actually have quite a bit of burst. Even, of course, when they're DPSing on a target, they have quite a bit of burst. But not only do they have a lot of burst while they're DPSing on a target, of course, they rely on a lot of pet buffs. So even while they're LOS back here, they can basically put out a ton of damage like a lot of classes. And with Beast Mastery Hunters, they can basically keep that pet alive using the healing that's LOS. Basically, it puts a little hot on the target and heals up their pet. And as you guys know, if a class doesn't have major cooldowns or something, like, Beast Mastery is going to rock it. That was one of the other things we also had to include in the fight, 1v1ing inside of Arena. Like, when do 1v1s generally happen? They usually happen sometime around after cooldowns, or when there's split cooldowns, or when usually major kiting mechanics and things like that are off cooldown, where general just kiting and LOSing around pillars is extremely powerful mechanically when other classes don't have major cooldowns. So that's why BM Hunters are definitely going to come in at number 3, and the fact that they don't even have to be near you. They could be at the farthest pillar, barely popping out, throwing out cooldowns, throwing out pet cooldowns, and just completely LOSing while they deal the pressure. Of course, they got some invulnerabilities, some pretty good CC. That's a dang plane. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But that's just throwing out CC, kiting around. And of course, the best part is they have an ability, it's a PvP ability, that they can use Feign Death and completely drop dots off of them, making it so they're behind a pillar, hitting you with their pet, and any dots you had on them that you planned that were going to tick on them, don't end up ticking on them. So that's why BM's going to come in at number 4. Number 3 is going to go to Ret Paladins. Now, why Ret Paladins? Guys, as you see, we are on the Legion leveling server because I don't have any room to make a Paladin on the PvP one. But I'm going to talk about why Ret Paladins are going to be number 3 on this list. Now, Ret Paladins have quite a bit of damage, and of course, since their damage is kind of like Feral Druids, they proc little healing procs and, of course, extra healing off of dealing pressure. They can do quite a bit of damage and stay alive. Now, where Paladins definitely come in on this list is they also have the ability, of course, to get out of slows and use LOS as a strength and heal up as the deafening strength, especially if they have some kind of slower appeal. LOS for Ret Paladin can be very powerful. Now, when it comes to resetting fights, what's going to make a Ret Paladin strong, of course, is the survivability when you actually open up on him and try to deal damage. And he can heal up even if, like a Feral's dotting him and running around, he can still be stationary and heal. Now, of course, the resets in the fight come from the bubbles, where, of course, they can bubble, deal pressure, and or heal up in the bubble, where you can basically do nothing to him, and he's going to bring himself back up to, over half health. If he gets lucky, maybe even a third or full health, which is pretty insane. And of course, they can use freedom and then just continue to LOS afterwards and heal to full as they stun you and kite out again. Ret Paladins are really great at doing this and generally pretty strong 1v1 even outside of arena with even without LOS. I'd have to say that's going to be why Paladins, of course, come in at number 3. And of course, after Forbearance wears off, they can bop, which is basically, for most classes, I'd have to say a reset. If anything, it's just going to take most of the bleeds off you and things like that, so you can get back here and heal up. And of course, if there's melee, it's going to make you immune to the melee damage, which again would be another reset for a lot of classes. So that's going to be why Ret Paladins come in at number 3. Number 2 on this list, and right now probably one of the most crazy melee DPS, I'd have to say. When it comes around all around CC, consistent damage, and a pretty hefty burst, we've got to give it to Windwalker Monks. Of course, they have a counter, which is Karma, which basically causes the other person to just run the heck away from you. Alright, so you add all that CC together, of course, with the amount of speed that Monks have. Basically, guys, like, you can see how they reset the fight. They LOS, they use their speed, they use paralysis, which is a 15-second cooldown to peel off. Someone's trying to hit you, you paralysis them, you run back here, and then you can spam your heal on yourself. And of course, the crazy thing about Monk Heal is it takes energy. Now, Monks basically have infinite energy, and energy, restores itself. So by the time you come back around to get on him, he uses paralysis again, and of course just LOS. And the fact of the sheer speed of some of the abilities, like the flying surf and kick, I mean, it really makes Monks the hardest class to stick on. And of course, they have their teleport, which is another reset. Of course, they can just completely portal through walls. You're getting on them, you're about to burst, and they just go, nope! And then you try to get on them again, you come around, they paralyze you, and of course, they just roll around the pillar again, giving Monks the insane ability to really 1v1 a ton of classes inside Arena when they have a lot of LOS. Now, without LOS, are they still strong? Of course, they're really strong 1v1. But definitely with a bit of LOS, they become a lot stronger. Number 2 on this list, guys, is going to go to Windwalker Monks. Now, why Windwalker Monks? Of course, Windwalker Monks have an insane amount of consistent damage, and of course can generate a gnarly burst. Especially with the stacks of Fists of Fury, you max that out at 8, so it increases the damage by about 40%. And then this is what you're going to do to a target. You're basically going to throw out Tony the Tiger, you're going to pop your major cooldowns, you're going to put a touch of death on the target, and then you're going to Fists of Fury. That touch of death is going to come to the end at the end of the Fists of Fury and tick for a huge amount, and that's right when you throw in your artifact weapon for another 300k. And that touch of death just ticked this dummy for over 1 million. That was insane right there. I believe in PvP it'll tick for about 600 to 700k, which is probably one of the gnarliest all-around bursts you could do on a melee class. Yeah, you guys actually commented, made me aware of the full burst. I've been doing partials, kind of splitting it up, but I definitely see how you maximize it all in one now, just to create an almost one-shot on a monk. It's pretty gnarly. As for what we're talking about, though, LOSing and going around pillars, monks are basically the king at it, because of course they have a portal that they can preset, and if they need to get away, you come over, you're full bursting, the monk's like, nah dude, I ain't letting you burst on me, and they just portal through the wall. You come around, they have paralysis, which is a 15-second cooldown, they hit you with that, and of course they just roll away around the pillar again and use their heal. Now Infuse is an amazing heal. It doesn't heal for a huge amount, but the crazy thing is they never run out of that heal. The energy keeps regenning now. They can get to spots to where, of course, they can't use it because they don't have enough energy, but they just, of course, keep rolling and LOSing and using paralysis and kiting around the pillar, which causes this class to be one of the most insane when it comes to resetting fights, healing up, and just outlasting most targets. And, of course, they have a Karma, which is almost equivalent to a bubble unless you have multiple DPS on you. That you can throw at people to counter their major bursts. Like, that is one of the most insane things I can imagine. Trying to fight is something that counters your burst, and the only way you can get rid of it is a bubble or something. So that's just really powerful all in itself. And of course they have healing elixirs that they can proc. They have like a 30-second cooldown on the recharge, and then of course go back to spamming this, CCing you, kiting around. If they really need to get away, they can basically use Serpent Kick to find a whole new pillar to LOS around. I don't know why we stopped right there. That was weird. It shouldn't have stopped. But yeah, a whole new pillar that they can LOS around. Like, I'd have to say monks for mobile kiting around pillars are definitely the king of it, especially with the teleport. It's just so strong. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and jump over to number 1. Number 1 on this list is going to go to rogues. You guys are thinking, yep, knew it. Had to be rogues. You're right, it's rogues. Sub-rogues, Muty can do it too, but it has to be a really good Muty rogue. Muties have to be smart. They open up with their stuff. They put on bleeds. They LOS, of course. Let their poisons deal damage. Now, sub-rogues, of course, now how are they so powerful? Basically, they have a an ability, a PvP ability, that reduces the cooldown of your Vanish spell by 90 seconds. So right now the normal cooldown is 2 minutes. That makes Vanish, 90 seconds? And of course they can actually, let's see, what else do we got here? They also have an ability when they're out of combat. I mean, all they have to do is really get out of combat. I mean, you open up, you stun a target, you apply some damage, you sprint, you get out of combat. You're away. You can Vanish if you have to. You don't really have to. Of course, you can reopen on the target. Of course, if you really need to stealth in combat, you could throw up Shadow Dance, Sap, or Stun while you're in combat. And then, of course, drop back, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, and then re-stealth once you're out of combat, resetting the fight. Now, I wouldn't say, of course, monks are more mobile than rogues, but rogues obviously have the most resets in the game for, I'd say, different kind of situations. Rogues are definitely the best at it. A really good sub-rogue, I'd say right now, is definitely the king of 1v1. Even including casters, things like that. A really good rogue that knows how to utilize that LOS is just going to be absolutely insane when it comes to 1v1ing most classes. And I think a lot of people that have played the beta, they know what I'm talking about. Like, you get a really good rogue that knows how to stack up that stealth damage on you. He opens up, stuns you, puts dots on you, LOS, and then he waits for his big, of course, CD cooldown, which I'll show you guys here in just a moment. Alright, so the big CD cooldown on a sub-rogue, they're going to come up on you, and they're going to hit you with Shadow Strike, which basically portals them. Like, when they're being aggressive, you can't get away from them. They basically throw on Shadow Dance and just punch you from across the map. Like, you can't get away from it. Alright, so what we're going to do here is basically throw on Symbols of Death, open up on the target for a huge damage, and then we're going to build up our, basically our combat points here until we have basically maxed out. Then we're going to throw up Shadow Dance, use Death from above, and hit the target. I think that said like 1 point. What did that say? That said just a crazy amount. Hold on, let me see. Backstab. Oh, what happened? My actions. No, maybe it wasn't 1 point something. It like popped up. Yeah, Death from above hit for 1.4 million right there, guys. That hit for 1.4 million. That was an insane Death from above. That's where the crazy opener comes from. And again, they can LOS, use Shadow Dance the Sap, Cheap Shot, Kite back, and then use Vanish again. So that's why rogues come in at number 1. That's going to be it for the top 5 video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, go ahead and hit that like button. And until next time, this was your boy Hazzed.